to the second game of the 2012 high school football season. Tonight's matchup pits two neighboring communities that have the word green in them. That would be Greendale and Greenfield. Naturally, this creates a little bit of a rivalry. Greendale under head coach Rob Stoltz comes in tonight with a 1-0 record, while Greenfield under head coach Scott Otto comes in with an 0-1 record. Panthers would receive first to start the game. After a nice little return, Greendale would begin their first drive of the game from their 30. The Hawks sure looked like they did their homework as they stuffed Greendale, forcing them the punt, going 3 and out. After the kick, it would now be Greenfield's turn for their first drive of the night. They would be lining their wishbone offense up on the 32. Behind their huge offensive line, they would squeeze off 6 plays before eventually being forced to punt back to Greendale. With the help of a penalty and the return, Greendale found themselves starting on their own 10-yard line. The Hawks continued where they left off as they stuffed the first 2 Panther running plays. Then it started. The Panthers busted out their revered passing attack behind the arm of Josh Ringelberg, who guided the team the entire length of the field for the game's first score on a 4-yard run play by running back Jake Sawicki. This would cap off an impressive 12-play, 90-yard drive. Senior Peter Picard would convert the extra point, making the score 7-0 with 1:49 left in the first quarter. After the ensuing kick, the Hawks would take over from their 18. They would resume their ground and pound game, putting 8 plays together before eventually being forced to punt from their 49. After a nice punt by Greenfield's Johanna, Greendale would again find themselves pinned deep as they would begin this drive from their own 5. Right off the bat, Greendale would go to the air as Ringelberg would find sophomore wideout Cody Metz on a huge 85-yard pass play, taking the ball all the way to Greenfield's 10. Plays later, Ringelberg will connect with junior Mitchell Breeze for an 8-yard scoring strike. Picard made his kick, and Greendale now increased their lead to a score of 14-0 with 9:18 left in the first half. After the Hawks return, they would find themselves starting from their 12. This time, instead of their ground and pound game, they decided to take it to the air. They would end up having a punt going 3 and out as all of the passes fell incomplete. Ringelberg would now lead his offense back out onto the field and start from Greenfield's 47. This time, Panther head coach Rob Stoltz would elect to keep it on the ground as Ringelberg and Sawicki would share the workload. Six plays later, Greendale ended up into the end zone again as Sawicki would carry it in from 1 yard out. Picard's kick sailed between the uprights as the Panthers forged ahead by a score of 21-0 with 6:05 left in the half. On the ensuing kick, Greenfield looked to have a decent return, but a penalty would cancel that out, forcing them to start from their own 15. This time the Hawks looked like they got the party started on offense. That would come to an abrupt end, however, for on their 7th play of the drive, they would be intercepted by freshman linebacker Tristan Pipp, who returned it 32 yards to the Greenfield 33. Five plays later, Ringelberg would take it himself from 3 yards out for Greendale's 4th touchdown of the game. This time the kick would be blocked, making the score 27-0 with just 1:27 left in the first half. This time the Hawks would find themselves starting from the 20 by way of a touchback on the kick. Looking to get some points on the board real quick, things started out real good for him as the quarterback would keep it on an option and soon found himself racing down the sideline for a 40-yard run. But disaster would strike as a Panther defender would strip the ball loose, of which Greendale's David Michaels would recover on his 40-yard line. With 1:14 left in the first half, Greendale would take to the field to see if they could reach the end zone one more time. Knowing that time was short, Greendale would elect to fill the air with footballs. 6 plays later, Ringelberg would find yet another weapon in his arsenal in Nate Miller over the middle for a 31-yard scoring strike. Panthers would line up for 2 and convert as Ringelberg would take it in by himself. The score would now read 35-0 with 15 seconds left in the first half. The Hawks would run 1 play before the half would finally come to an end. Looking at a 35-point deficit to start the second half, the Hawks knew that they had their work cut out for them. They first needed to stop that running clock because they would need as much as they could to get back into this game. After the Panther kick, they would start this quest from their 20-yard line. 3 plays later, however, disaster would hit them as they would fumble, of which Breeze would recover for Greendale. Looking at a short 33-yard field, Greendale would begin their first drive of the second half. It would only take them 5 plays to reach pay dirt again as Ringelberg would take it in from 6 yards out. Picard would make the kick, making the score a rather lopsided 42-0 with 7:34 left in the third quarter. With the clock ticking away, Greenfield would begin their next drive from their 23. This time they would string together 9 plays, taking the ball all the way to Greendale's 20 before looking at a 4th and long. In an attempt to get some kind of points on the board, they would bring their field goal unit out and attempt a 27-yarder. And his kick would sail wide to the left, giving the ball back to Greendale on their own 20-yard line. Backup quarterback David Wood was now in for Greendale. The Panthers would run 2 plays before misconnecting on the handoff, resulting in Greendale's only turnover of the game. That turnover would cost the Panthers 3 points as the Hawks would have to settle for a 33-yard field goal by Hanna, making the score 42-3 with 10 minutes left in the game. After the ensuing kick, Greendale would bring their second offense back out on the field. They would eventually be forced to punt back to the Hawks. I guess when it rains it pours as Greenfield would fumble on their very first play, giving the ball right back to the Panthers on the Hawks 29. Greendale would end up turning the ball over on downs on Greenfield's 22. With the game clock at 3:32 and counting, the Hawks would attempt to make one last-ditch effort to add to their total. Unfortunately, that wouldn't happen, for on the 4th play of the drive, they would fumble for the 4th time in the game. Greendale would not even need to run a play as the clock would finally run out. Your final score would be Greendale 42, Greenfield 3. In the end, it all came down to execution and turnovers. Greendale's young guns executed their offense perfectly, committing just 1 turnover, while Greenfield had trouble making plays to keep drives alive and committed 5 turnovers. Greendale will now move to 2-0 while Greenfield drops to 0-2. Next week, the Panthers will finally return home to host Pius, while Greenfield will be on the road to play Whitnall. Both games are scheduled to start at 7 o'clock. Hope to see you all there. So long.